Hi, everybody. This is day 1522, and um, we have breaking news. We have breaking news. This is day 1522 days since Richard was premeditatedly murdered on Fort Bliss. What do I mean by premeditated? It was an order. It was an order. It was a code red from his own. Um, Richard was whistleblowing the the unlawful activities and misconduct on Fort Bliss. There is 4 years of evidence to show that. I mean, when the director of emergency services really admits to it, Thomas Kane, was like, oh, well, he was a good meal for the coyotes, and what was going on at the emergency intake center on Fort Bliss with hundreds of thousands of children. Um, Absolutely a travesty. They're mostly all dead. They did not come to the United States um, on their own, right? They're unaccompanied. Were they kidnapped? We've been told they were grabbed out of their houses, right? They were, that means kidnapped to me. And it's really amazing that we have gotten this far in this only by God's grace. I'm telling you, only by God's grace, because we have breaking news that, we said that DC is going to El Paso. Well, DC is in El Paso. We have confirmation that DC is in El Paso. So that really is amazing news, and I'm going to have to repeat it as people come on because um, Team Find Richard Halliday has been waiting a long time for this. And I don't know how they're going to do their duty, if they're going to do their duty, what's going on there. I just know that they're there. I know that Washington is there. And I don't know, if there's going to be arrests. I know there is absolutely a broken system there. I know that there is betrayal. I know that there is treason, absolute treason. And they're going to have to go to other places to arrest those that committed the treason, like Lieutenant Generals, Sean Bernabe, Lieutenant General, that, the Senate Arms Committee even gave them a star for, okay? Something is fishy with that because Donna Martin did not. She needed to be arrested. She was over the Vanessa Guillen case. She was over the CI. She was over Richard's case. And I'm sure over Glennon Oakley Jr.'s case. And, I hope that she doesn't get a drop of water where she's going. I hope she doesn't. And maybe people think, oh, that's not merciful. Um, Look, we have hundreds of thousands of children that are mostly dead because of the criminal trafficking. Um, we have P Diddy being arrested, and the likes of Pink, the likes of who else? Um, I just had all the names in my head, but it just left. Oh yeah, J Lo. Just cleaning off their media presence, um, because they're just up to no good, y'all. They're up to no good, and their actions. It's not about personal desires or a personal life anymore. Hundreds of thousands of children, criminal trafficking. Criminal trafficking includes all kinds of things from drugs, from weapons, from ammunition. And that would be, could be answered by Fort Bliss. The audits of their bullets, could they even audit their brown tip bullets? Because brown tip bullets don't even, they're not even registered, right? But what about the green tip bullets? And what about all the weapons? And, and then all the drugs. I mean, the level of crime here. Um, Mercy is the death penalty. Okay. Mercy is the death penalty. And I've been saying that, night after night, bringing in the death penalty because it's just a hard one. It's a really hard one to accept. It's not as hard for me and for our family because of the absolute devastation that we have felt. Um, Thinking about what happened to Richard and not having Richard, um, and then being lied to, right, just right to your face, lied to by people that you've entrusted your most precious asset, your most valuable asset to, our sons and daughters. Um, the level of criminality from the first sergeants, the level of criminality from the senior NCOs, and the level of criminality from the officers, and of course the generals, right? The level of criminality from the CID and the FBI and the DA's office and the chief medical examiner and the judges that are not judges at all. And this is what I want to talk to you about. Just waiting for a few minutes to go in so people can see. And I mean, I know I'm being shadow banned, but this is really, really important because today Judge Madrano set a date. And I want you to know that's because of you. That's because of Team Find Richard Halliday. Because of your support. Because of our letters, our complaints, our inquiries for open records, our many, uh, I just can't even explain to you the amount of letters and what all that entails with faxing, with mailing, always certified mail, always. And we have receipts. That's what Rob does behind the scene. Make sure that it all is organized and they get the mail. And we have more going out tomorrow, um, because the level of criminality is so big. We're only doing about probably 85% of what we need to be doing in this case, as far as filing criminal complaints and open records and um, uh, what do you call it when you complain about someone's state bar, the bar complaints. It is, it's just ongoing all the time, hours and hours of work. And that's because of you supporting us, because of you watching, because of you getting out the word, because of your hope, because of your faith, because of the information that you have shared with us, being the eyes and the ears for El Paso. That has really, really helped us. And for the team that corroborates, and then we double check and corroborate. Um, it's been amazing. The tech help, um, we really appreciate all of that. And so now Washington D.C. is in El Paso, and that's a big deal. And as we get more information, we will absolutely share it with you. So I can't even imagine what they are looking into because there is so much to look into. It's not just one little violation, one person that has betrayed us, betrayed their oath, and is involved in criminal activity, right? There is so much that Washington, D.C. needs to question and look into and arrest document and prosecute. Absolutely. So I can't even tell you what it is because we've made so many complaints for so many areas. Is it the DA's office? Is it Fort Bliss? Is it the FBI? Is it the DPS? Is it the medical examiner? Is it the magistrate court? Is it, and I can go, is it FitFam El Paso? Is it Epic? Is it Epic? Um, is it, which is the El Paso Intelligence Community, which includes DEA, includes all these alphabet letter agencies. So, and there's just, remember, they brought in 15 plus agencies into that Task Force 5 Richard Halliday meeting. They didn't do that for nothing. Of course, it was not official. They weren't in uniform. There was no op board, but they didn't do it for nothing. And of course, that includes Mexico, the Mexican government, the Mexican military. They didn't do that for anything, for nothing either. And it include Interpol, which makes this international. So we know it's international. It's a very big deal. And when you mention Richard's name, and there's more to this, and as I can tell you, I will. But if you mention Richard's name, a pin drops. There's no one wants to. It's just the fear sets in, and nothing gets said, right? Because we've even complained about KTSM. We've even complained about El Paso Matters. Um, and of course acquired FitFam El Paso. Um, you know, eh, it's just El Paso Community Foundation. There's so much that they need to look into, and for so many different reasons. And it's, yeah, yeah. That's, it has been made possible because of you, and thank you so much. And I don't know if, because I haven't talked to them, um, Glendon Oakley Jr.'s family, and I would even say Asia Graham's family. I don't know if they're paying attention, and well, I do know Asia Graham's family's paying attention, and if they understand what this all means, because um, because Richard's case broke, okay? Richard's case broke with Chris Martin, with that connection with James Hart. Okay, so you have Chris Martin, um, and James Hart, right? And many more, many other. Nadal Baim, it's a very big one with Bradford Bugado. And, it's just, um, they can't hide it anymore. They can't hide it. So let's talk about the new news today. The breaking news. I mean, the breaking news is that DC is in El Paso. Thank God. And let's pray that they do their duty, because we've had such dereliction of duty everywhere. Just a broken system. So we really need to pray um, for them to do their duty. So let's talk about the Patrick Crucius and Judge Madrano. Judge Madrano, who, we've also have put in numerous complaints about. Um, Absolutely, he deserves those complaints and even more. I don't think we even complained more. I think we need to do a couple more supplements because of these actions. And I've been trying to write the notes down for everything, but I'm going to try to do it by heart because it gets so late. Here it is. Um, we'll probably burn the midnight oil again. But Judge Madrano had scheduled at the last hearing another hearing on October 31st, 2024, to decide on the trial date for the Walmart mass shooting. And I am going to bring up my notes. Um, and this is, really interesting because I don't think it's October 31st, 2024. It looks like September 23rd to me, 2024. And here he does something. He actually does something because you have to realize for all this time, he hasn't done anything, right? He hasn't even ordered a mental health evaluation of Patrick Crusius, okay? Which is really a dereliction in his duty, right? He allowed in this last hearing Patrick Crusius to be brought in. And did you see that picture of him I posted today? The side view, he is looking very, very frail. And maybe that's a mother speaking, he's looking very, very frail. And, he's been in isolation for 5 years. And what is their excuse for putting him in that jail clothes and just locking him up in those chains and putting the the bulletproof vest on him, right? What the heck are they doing? For me, they're influencing the jury. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to influence the public. Okay, you can say, well, wait a minute. He pleaded guilty for the federal case and he was found guilty in the federal case and he's going to spend just about 1,000 years in prison at the Alcatraz of the Rockies. Okay, you get that and you shut down the state case because the state case and the federal case are the same case. It's the same defendant, it's the same witnesses, it's the same gun, it's the same bullets, it's the same victims, it's the same evidence, it's the same time, it's the same place, it's the same, right? And this is where it gets really transparent. Joe Spencer and Felix Valenzuela and the other guy, right? Um, they said in the federal case that there was enough evidence that their client had to plead guilty. They pled he pled his client guilty. That he had enough evidence to plead him guilty. And there was never a jury in it, right? Never well, I don't know if it was a jury, but there was never a public hearing trial where we could see all the evidence and hear the witnesses, kind of like the OJ case, right? We want to hear the trial. We want to hear the witnesses. We want to see the evidence. We want to know what happened that day. And that's our right because we pay millions and millions and millions of dollars. And where is the transparency of this case? No, he did a plea deal with the federal case saying he saw the evidence and it was so bad that he had to plead his client guilty. But now he is saying to Judge Medrano, oh, you've got to give me time. You've got to give me time. There's so much evidence. Millions, right? Millions of things I have to read through, files and this, millions, right? I mean, it's just such hard work and you never know. I don't know if anything in there is going to make him innocent, right? Get him off, whatever. When Joe Spencer pled Patrick Crusius guilty, he absolutely knew that Patrick Crusius was not read his Miranda rights, that his hands were not bagged when he surrendered to the Hispanic police officer, that he had surrendered to a Hispanic police officer. He knew at that time that Ernest Christopher Grant was shot twice in the abdomen, that Miss Vega was shot twice in the chest. He knew then that there were questions about that Glendon Oakley Jr. witnessed to shots being fired in the mall. He was witness to a group of individuals that were security agents with M4s in the mall. I've read several, there's just no short of evidence out there. There are videos that have been taken down with Glendon Oakley Jr. Why? They're trying to set a narrative. Joe Spencer knew that Ernest Christopher Grant was a criminal, that he has a criminal record, right? Why in the world did he plead Patrick Crusius guilty? There is so much that, and on all the accounts, on I think it was 22 accounts, because I don't know, was it 23 accounts. This is why he has got almost 1,000 years, right? Where are the shells? They're worried about the brown tip bullets. They're worried about the green tip bullets. Where are the shells? How can you, if the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. How can you shoot a person in the chest? How can you shoot a person in the abdomen with an AK-47 and they survive? Now, if it's a different weapon, if it is a smaller caliber, they can survive. But you're talking about the only weapon Patrick Crusius had was an AK-47. So Joe Spencer knew all this. He knew these questions that we ask people that look into this, right? Something is not right. He knew that Patrick Crusius has mental health conditions, including autism. He knew he was living in San Antonio. Why would he drive this far? He knew Patrick Crusius' connections. Okay? He knows. So, and it just seems like Patrick Crusius' family, where are they? The evidence is overwhelming that his civil rights are being violated. Where is his family to advocate for him? I don't know. I don't get that. I don't get that. Because there were no shells in the background of this picture. Um, I question everything at this point, and nothing makes sense. And let me tell you, um, Joe Spencer, to me, with him representing you, who needs enemies, right? Who needs a prosecutor when you have him representing you? You're just going to spend about 1,000 years in the Alcatraz of the Rockies, the most secure. I think it's the most secure prison in the United States. Well, we'll just do that for you. And I wasn't even read my Miranda rights. My hands weren't even bagged. And then to come and find out if he would have looked, just a little bit. I mean, he had millions of dollars, right? Millions of dollars. You mean you're not going to look into the imposter individual that was posing as a judge in the El Paso Criminal Law Magistrate Court that, processed and arraigned Patrick Crusius, and he's not even legal. He's not even illegal. Look, we're not some masterminds, but where's Joe Spencer and his millions of dollars? We don't have millions of dollars to look into these judges. And guess what? The judges are criminal because they're not judges. They're individuals impersonating judges. That's what they are, because they're appointed and they're not allowed to be appointed. This is a very, very, very big deal. And please invite people over for pizza and talk about, okay, this is a magistrate court party. We are going to, over hamburgers, hot dogs, we are going to talk about the magistrate court, what their power is, what our rights are over this magistrate court, why they have violated our rights to vote, to scrutinize them, to look into their backgrounds, to look into their CV. Because if something happens in my life, they're going to be the ones ruling over me, ordering subpoenas, being able to go into my bank account, going into my GPS in my car, going into my computer, all my whole life. They can take away my children. They can put me in jail. They can do. Look, when they have that much power, they have to be connected to the people. So, not me, but so says the Texas Constitution. Thank you, God. Thank you for the mercy. That when you have this kind of power, where you can send people to jail, where you can order all kinds of subpoenas on them, go into their home, go into their workplace, find out everything. That when they have this kind of power, they have to be elected. They have to be connected to the people and depend on the people, not some elitist group, not not Judge Madrano. And Judge Madrano was part of the picking of those individuals. So that was a criminal act. The whole thing is criminal. And you're telling me that millions and millions of dollars and Joe Spencer doesn't look into who magistrated and look into these judges? Look who arraigned Patrick Crusius, his client, and how that all went? Well, and then pleads him out guilty in the federal case with all of this, his rights being violated and all of these delays, the delay in his right to a speedy trial has been violated. So that's Joe Spencer there. He seems to be a pretty rotten lawyer. That's all I have to say. I don't. Where does he come from anyway? Is he an El Pasoan? He's a pretty rotten lawyer. Wherever he comes from, he needs to get a different job. You know, maybe he has. Well, he needs to probably be arrested because it looks like there's foul play in all of this. It looks like it's a money grab. It looks like it was for to enrich himself. And, I'll leave that to the investigators to decide. But it's interesting now that he's begging for time to look at the evidence when, with the federal court, he said he had enough evidence to plead his client guilty. Yeah. And so long, that's a lot of money. He's really trying to take El Paso and Texas for everything they have. Yeah. And of course, his partner, Felix Valenzuela, is Leilani Hart, y'all. Felix Valenzuela is Leilani Hart. That connects the Walmart mass shooting to Richard's case, too. And of course, the Justin Underwood representing illegally, really, Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, who was never a witness. She was never a witness, and neither was her son, Thomas Hoffman. Never a witness, okay? They want to parade them around like they're witnesses in the media, the way they do, write about them and everything, but they're not witnesses. Um, and I think it takes our eyes off of the true witnesses, like Ernest Christopher Grant. If Ernest Christopher Grant, who's a criminal, total criminal, if he was shot, and I don't doubt that he was shot, but this should be a slam dunk for him to witness. Yes, it was Patrick Crusius, and it's a slam dunk. And the same thing with Miss Vega. 2 shots in the chest. I don't think you forget that. I don't think you forget that, and you can witness to that, and it would be a slam dunk. But that's not what's happening, is it? It's delay, delay, delay. I mean, January 2026. That's delay, delay, delay. You're talking 7 years. People are going to have passed away that were witnesses. There was a lot of older people in this. This is such a travesty of justice, and it falls right into the lap of Judge Madrano on this one, right? Judge Madrano, and of course, Bill Hicks. I mean, where's Bill Hicks? Bill Hicks, where are you? He's such a failure, right? He's such a failure. He should have just dropped this whole case because when you have a guilty verdict in the Fed case and the mess you have in the state case. But no, it's a cash grab. I really believe it's a cash grab, and yeah, it's oh sorry. We're gonna burn the midnight oil, and this makes you speechless. Okay, so what else is happening? The rights of the victims are absolutely being violated. Look how long this is through. I just had the reason why there was that pause is just you have these times that your mind, all it's like a movie. A movie goes across your brain of everything that happened, and just all these visions, all through this. There are just moments you just get this whole series of visions, and to think of Medrano, to think of Justin Underwood, who just came to my mind with Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, who was like a, an imposter ad litem in this whole case. He couldn't even be an ad litem, but he was used to tamper with the case, with Richard's case. Okay. Justin Underwood targeted Richard's case. Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia targeted Richard's case. Leilani Hart targeted Richard's case. And they're all, it's just one case, right? And if you solve one, you solve the other. So this kicking the can down and actually coming out and assigning a date is really, well, it shows that he must be under a lot of pressure. Judge Medrano must be under a lot of pressure and must be under a lot of scrutiny. So how much of DC is in El Paso? I'll let you know. I'll let you know as we hear, because yeah, are they looking into Judge Medrano, right? This sudden decision over a month early after delay, and making the victims wait and wait and wait, and parading Patrick Crusius around um, in chains and everything, which I think is influencing the jury pool. That's a no-no, right? So I wish I knew really what to say about this case, except for they have no case. Really, they have no case, because if the witnesses, think about it, you get shot in the chest, you get shot in the abdomen. You don't ever forget that. And if they had slam dunk witnesses like that would seem to be, they would have, the way they parade Patrick Crusius and want the death of him and saying, bury him under the courthouse or whatever, the way they want him dead, it almost looks like they're starving him. Um, they would absolutely, if they had a slam dunk case against him, they would absolutely do it, because they would be heroes. They would have jobs for the rest of their lives. I'm talking about um, the lawyers and all of this, right? But that's not the case. That is not the case. They are afraid. This is showing pressure and fear, and, trying to manipulate it even more. That's what this is doing. So, and don't forget that Glennon Oakley Jr., his witness statement, and we got word probably like 2 weeks ago, not quite 2 weeks ago, that Richard had information on the Walmart mass shooting. And we know that Richard was in communication with DC, that he was in communication with FBI Houston, that he was in communication with the CID and the IG and 911. So, yeah, Child Protective Services and Child Protective Services, all of that. They have that. They have that. So, and he had information, and they killed him. So I think that is a lot to think about tonight. I think Judge Medrano was pressured. I'm not for sure, but I think it was because of you. Um, and of course, There must not be any witnesses. There must be so much um, wrong things about this case that there's no case. There is no case. And what would be revealed is really damaging. Not to Patrick Crusius, but to those involved in Richard's case. Because they're the same people. And multiple shooters, right? And it would show multiple shooters. I think the forensics would do that too. So, and the El Pasoans could have used that money, those millions and millions. I think they should ask for restitution. All that money needs to be paid back. It's been robbed from the El Pasoans, and they could use that money. The, I'm sure there's lots of things that can be done in the county of El Paso and the city of El Paso, right? So, all right, let me answer questions. Yes, they all deserve the death penalty. You can't trust anyone. These people are evil. Prayers going up. Thank you so much. I know I'm speechless tonight because this was really a shock. I think it's a good shock because it means that our institutional support is bigger than we thought. We have a lot. I mean, we're getting a lot of institutional support shown to us. Um, and if you get some, that means you have more, right? And if you have more, then you have a lot. Because they just don't communicate to you like you think they should, right? They really hide it. And so to have this kind of action going on, it shows that, and I think this whole thing with P. Diddy is absolutely connected. Absolutely connected. You don't have hundreds of thousands of children unaccompanied, unaccountable, and on a Fort Bliss. Fort Bliss, y'all. Fort Bliss. I mean, they have so many resources and they have so many security agents, and that's all paid for by us, and all of the care, all of the trafficking was paid for by us once they hit Fort Bliss. Right? All the food, all the everything. And where are they? And now they're mostly dead. And you have these known sex cultists just wiping their media presence and everything. And then you have Judge Medrano, because the Walmart mass shooting is connected, y'all. It's all connected. It's the same group of people. So, and he's now rushing before October 31st. I mean, way more. It's not like a day or two before. It is over a month before. So he must be under some stress. He must be under some scrutiny. Rightfully so, because these are not my words. This is from El Paso. He is the most corrupt judge in the history of El Paso. And his wife, Bernadette Medrano, works in the magistrate's court's district clerk's office there, who we have been inquiring. Who allowed access to the district clerk's computer to bring up, because, Richard was wrongfully jailed by this unlawful panel of judges that are not judges. They're appointed individuals, and this makes them illegal and criminal. And every judge knows, am I appointed or elected? Do I have to be appointed? Do I have to be elected? Right? Everyone knows when you're in that level and in that job and in that business, they know. And they know their power. And they know their vast power in the magistrate court that handles 90% of the cases, criminal cases in El Paso. And look, they know that makes them all criminals. Penny Hamilton, one of them. And she's working in the DA's office for usurper Bill Hicks. And so Richard was illegally, unlawfully. He was unlawfully stopped. There was no probable cause to stop him by the K-9 cop in a parking lot at midnight doing a traffic stop right in front of, an intelligence building in that parking lot. And who brought him there? Belen Rocha. Belen Rocha's family member is the K-9 cop. It was such a frame job. And the judge didn't say, hey, who is this K-9 cop? No K-9 cop does a traffic stop in a parking lot at midnight with no probable cause and arrest, and then, hands him over to this other guy, Carzoli or whatever, and brings them in front. No, and then they wrongfully put him in jail. And then the district court's office allows access to the computer to bring up the picture, but they didn't expand the picture. They let the picture be on the computer, showing other things on the computer in the background in the windows, which identifies it as the district clerk's computer. And then they snapshot this. They allow someone to take a photograph of the computer screen, and then they spread it around, online in social media to smear in a smear campaign for Richard, but also to intimidate, to threaten us. I mean, this is so and then you're asking them, hey, look into that. Who's doing that? Well, we're not investigators. No, but this is your office. You have a duty to make sure that everything is working good and no one's giving access to the computer to take a picture to intimidate the family, a Gold Star family. I mean, think about it. I just, and the conflict of interest is right there because Judge Medrano is also on the group of justices that appoint these illegals. Who gave him the right to do that? Who gave Judge Sam Medrano the right to take away the votes of the people of El Paso? And I'm not joking about that at all, and that's not an over-exaggeration. And this is an important election because those positions as judges have so much power over the people, and the people need to have power over the judges. It's called checks and balances. But no, they appoint their whoever, the bottom of the barrel, or their family members, or their who's ever in their group or whatever. And if someone is doing trafficking or get caught, going across the border with a truck full of ammunition, they can say, oh, look the other way. Find something. Maybe they weren't read their Miranda rights. Maybe their hands weren't bagged. Maybe, doesn't work for Patrick Crusius, but, so this is the problem. This is a huge. And who gave Judge Medrano, the right to take away the votes of the people? And the other judges that are on that in that group that appoint these, who's all in there? And then you have the district clerk. Now, and you have to understand this, the district clerk's office gets the arraignments, gets all the processes of the orders of those illegal impersonating judges, right? And makes it happen without question. And who? Judge Medrano's wife, Bernadette Medrano. Yeah, what a scam. What an absolute criminal scam. And then to allow access to the computer to take a picture, that's so criminal. And then when you inquire about it, say, hey, that's my son. He's been murdered. We're a Gold Star family. Who took that picture? Who had access? You have all these CCTV cameras that the taxpayers pay for security. Who took that picture? Who allowed that access? There's all kinds of security on the computers that you have to put in your card and your code and everything so that you know exactly who was working that night. Oh, it was COVID. No, we know that there were essential workers. And that would make me so mad because Marlon Soto would say, well, I'm essential. Really? Now we know it was such a political scam. And I would tell him, we are all essential. Oh, no, I'm essential. And I get to cross the border over to Mexico. I know. And I'm like, no, we're all essential. I'm crossing that border too because it's essential that I look for my son, that I look for the murderers of my son, that I look for evidence, that I look for witnesses. Where are the witnesses? Because there's lots of them. And that's why I hated COVID so much, because that was an excuse to keep us away from the witnesses. And then the witnesses were retaliated against. And then, if you want to make a complaint or whatever, it was such a mess. But let me tell you, in that district clerk's office, people were working because they were essential. And they lied to us. They lied to us about Nadal. They lied to us about Richard. They knew Richard was murdered. They knew they had his body. They lied to us about Bradford Bugado. They lied to us about Dallas Hart. They lied to us about Leilani Hart. They lied to us about so many things. You can go on and on and on. And now they still want to lie to cover up for themselves and not tell us who took that picture. And now they want to make us believe that Joe Spencer is such a good defense attorney, and he's rotten. Because that was a long time ago when they had the federal case. And he's like, I've seen all the evidence convinces me my client deserves the life sentence 9 times over, 1,000 years, and put him in the biggest, baddest, worst Alcatraz of the Rockies secure prison, right? That's what he said. That's what happened. I don't think that's what he said. I shouldn't say that. But that's what happened, right? And now he's like, oh, there's so much more evidence to look at. I don't know. There's so much more evidence. I mean, millions, they just lie and charge the taxpayers millions. That's where the millions are. And all he had to do was, hey, look, we got the federal court. He's guilty. He'll be in prison forever. I think we need to drop this. No, they want to squeeze and squeeze and squeeze. I can't help but think it's greed and greed and greed. Okay, and Bill Hicks is, where is he? I mean, you know, he must be with Biden, hiding somewhere. I don't know. Because he was put in to that position to get it done, meaning the Walmart mass shooting case. And I don't know what get it done means. He didn't do anything. Oh, and this is also very important. How many motions since Bill Hicks has been in there? How many motions has he filed with Judge Madrano to get a trial date? How many? Like, come on, this is taking too long. Uh, the Joe Spencer already said, pled his client guilty, says, the evidence shows that. Let's get on with this, right? How many times has he put in that motion for a trial date to speed things up? Zero. Zero. Goose egg. A goose egg. Yeah. And you know who's dead? Who had information? Glennon Oakley Jr. and Richard Halliday. Yeah. And who covered that up? The generals. And so, Peg, they all deserve the death penalty. You can't trust anyone. They all deserve it. They are absolutely treasonous. They've walked all over our beautiful government, our beautiful constitution, our beautiful legal system, our courtrooms. They've walked all over it with their dirty shoes. Of course, they've had our beautiful uniforms on with our beautiful stars, and they like the paychecks. They like our beautiful paychecks and all the benefits that go with it. They are absolutely treating us. They've betrayed us, and I'm being nice, and I'm being very nice. So, thank you so much. Um, God bless you, and I will be back tomorrow. And this DC there right now, DC is there right now. Um, that's because of you. Please share, and thank you so much. God bless you. Bye bye.